Grand Admiral Thexlon dismissed the warning beacon with an irritated wave of his crystalline appendage. For the third time in an hour, the automated message played across the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Dominion. Warning, you are approaching Terran quarantine zone. By order of the Galactic Council, entry is strictly forbidden. This species has been classified as Extinction Class Threat Level Omega. Turn back immediately or face total annihilation. Primitive propaganda. Thexlon scoffed to his bridge crew. The Empire bows to no warnings, especially from some backward species that hasn't even achieved faster-than-light travel. His intelligence reports were clear. The so-called humans were confined to a single star system, barely capable of reaching their own moon consistently. Their technology was laughably primitive. Their military forces consisted of crude chemical propulsion rockets, and their society was constantly at war with itself. The Galactic Council's quarantine was obviously some kind of elaborate protection racket. The Empire needed the resources in this sector: rare earth minerals, strategic positioning, and most importantly, a demonstration that Imperial authority superseded the Council's outdated treaties. "Sir," ventured Navigator Kixtal nervously, "perhaps we should review the historical data. The quarantine has been in place for over 2 centuries, and no ship that's entered this zone has ever." "Has ever what?" Thexlon snapped. "Reported back?" Obviously, they've been too embarrassed to admit they wasted resources on such a trivial threat. We're talking about a species that still uses projectile weapons and burns fossil fuels. As the Imperial fleet crossed the boundary marker, Thexlon felt a moment of satisfaction. Finally, someone with backbone was calling the Council's bluff. When he returned with proof of humanity's insignificance, the Emperor would reward him handsomely. The first anomaly appeared 12 minutes later. "Admiral," called out Sensor Officer Voth, "I'm detecting unusual readings from the third planet. Energy signatures that don't match our intelligence reports." Thexlon frowned. "Define unusual." "Well, sir, our data indicated they had primitive nuclear technology. But I'm reading fusion signatures that suggest they've somehow achieved energy outputs comparable to small stars. That should be impossible with their tech level." The second anomaly came 6 minutes after that. "Sir," Tactical Officer ZYNX's voice cracked with panic. "Multiple contacts emerging from the asteroid belt. They're moving at impossible speeds. No conventional drive system could generate that kind of acceleration without turning organic crews into paste." Thexlon stared at the tactical display in growing unease. Dozens of small craft were converging on his position, their movement patterns unlike anything in the Imperial tactical database. They didn't fly like ships. They moved like missiles, like guided projectiles with one purpose. "Open communication channels," he ordered. "I'll speak to their leaders and negotiate their surrender." The response that came back wasn't from any leader. It was from everywhere at once. Every human ship, every orbital platform, every hidden installation throughout the system speaking in perfect unison. "You were warned. You chose to ignore the warning. Now you understand why the quarantine exists. Not to protect you from us, but to protect the galaxy from what we become when cornered." The human vessels opened fire, and Thexlon realized with mounting horror that every intelligence report had been catastrophically wrong. These weren't primitive weapons. They were technologies so advanced that his sensors couldn't even identify the energy signatures. The humans hadn't failed to achieve faster-than-light travel. They'd achieved something far more terrifying. They'd learned to weaponize. Physics itself. As his shields collapsed under the assault, Thexlon finally understood. The quarantine wasn't to contain humanity's expansion. It was to contain their evolution. Left alone for 2 centuries, they'd become something beyond the galaxy's comprehension. The last transmission from the Imperial Dominion was a simple message. The warning was real. "Tell the Emperor, tell him we're sorry." But by then, there was no one left to tell.